Hello everybody, welcome to a new week and to a new episode of Inside Guns with your host, me, the Yankee Marshal. Today I thought I'd start the week off with another top 5 list. I get asked all the time to make these, and the one I want to do today is one I get asked about all the time. I get asked, what do I think are the top 5 10mm handguns for carry on the market today? All right, the gun at number 5 is one you saw on one of my lists last week. It is the Tang Folio Witness P Carry. This is a 10mm polymer framed handgun that has a compact size slide and a full size frame, which means it's able to hold 16 rounds of 10mm. And it's not that expensive either. You'd think something with a stainless slide holding 16 rounds of 10mm. It's double action, single action, not a striker fired gun. That's another plus for it. You'd think it'd be real expensive, but it's not. It's in that $650 range. You can find it around that for pretty much any time you actually can find it when things aren't crazy. But that's number 5 on the list, the Tang Folio Witness P carry model. All right, at number 4 on the list, you have one of my favorite guns, or at least the favorite model gun. I don't know if this is my favorite version of this model, but you have the Sig Sauer P220 Legion 10mm. Now, this gun is only available in the Legion 10mm these days. There used to be multiple models. I have 2 different 10mm ones. One's double action, single action, one's single action only that are not Legions. But I do believe that now the Legion's the only one you can get. But that is a great gun. The only problem with the Legion is that it's heavy, and another problem, I guess you could say there's 2 problems, is that it's a little bit pricey. It also is like the lowest capacity gun that's on this list, or probably the lowest capacity gun, because 8 rounds in a magazine, 1 round in a pipe for a total of 9 rounds. So it doesn't really hold the most rounds, but hey, we're talking 10mm. How many rounds do you possibly need? But like I said, the biggest issue is that it's heavy. It's an all-steel gun, so you really have to be determined to carry it, but it can be carried. I've carried heavier guns. So to say it's not a carried gun because it's too heavy, no, it is actually a great gun for carry. You just have to have a proper setup to be able to deal with that weight. But like I said, the other bad thing, price, this gun is around $1,300, a little over. In fact, if you look at the gun that's going to end up at number 1 on this list, this gun has about half the capacity and costs twice as much. That's why it's so far down on the list and not in like number 2 or number 1 position. But there you have number 4 on this list, and that is the Sig Sauer P220 Legion 10mm. All right, at number 3, I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to lump 2 guns together because they're very similar. They're just 2 different sizes of basically the same gun. It is the Glock 29 and the Glock 20. These are both polymer framed, striker fired guns. Everybody knows what a Glock is. And this is their 10mm offerings. They have some different ones like MOS, long slides, etc. But these are the 2 main offerings. The 29 and the 20, and it's basically to decide between them is, do you want full-size gun? Do you like full-size Glocks, or do you prefer the compact size? Because that's, the full size is the 20, the compact is the 29. It's actually kind of a weird size. It's in between what their usual compacts are and their full size, but it's still considered, I do believe they consider it a compact gun. Now, both of these guns hold way more rounds than the gun that was previously on the list, the Sig Sauer, because the 29, I do believe, has 10 plus 1 rounds, and I do believe the 20 has 15 plus 1 rounds, so that's 11 and 16. I should have written that down so I'd know for sure, but I glanced down there, I don't have it written down. But I think most people are familiar with these guns, so I don't really have to give you a whole lot of information on this. And plus, since they're Glocks, they're not super expensive. Some people would say they're overpriced for polymer guns of their quality, but they're pretty daggone good quality. They're reliable. So that's what you want in a carry gun, reliable. And in a 10mm variant, you got power and reliability. And like I said, not that expensive, you know, $650 usually, in that range, $600, $650, as long as things aren't crazy like they are right now. So both of these guns are going to be number 3 on the list. The Glock 29 if you like a more compact size, the Glock 20 if you like the full size. All right, at number 2 on the list isn't actually going to be a gun. It's going to be a category gun, because there's so many options in this category that if I had just done them separately, they'd probably take up this whole list, different models. So I'm going to just lump them all together. And many of you that follow me know I have always said if I was going to carry a 1911, it would be 10 millimeter. And if I was going to carry a 10 millimeter, it would be a 1911. So 10 millimeter 1911s are number 2 on my list. And you know, you can get all kinds of different price ranges here. Usually they hold 10 rounds, 9 rounds in a magazine and 1 in the chamber. There are variations of that. You can get extended mags, etc. But generally that's how many they hold, about 10 rounds. In a very reliable, simple, single action only hammer fired platform, which everyone is familiar with. I can't imagine there's any gun people out there that aren't familiar with 1911s. And they're all pretty great. You can buy a Sig Sauer, you know, and you can go on up to full custom models and spend anywhere between like $800 and $8,000 if you want to. And even more if you want to go crazy. So wide range of styles and makers and prices. Now, I will say I'm going to single out one gun, and this is where it gets painful for me because I hate to say this, but I think one of the best 10 millimeter guns on the market right now, as far as value and quality and everything combined, is the Ronin from Springfield Armory. I hate the company, but love their guns, unfortunately. And the Ronin 10 millimeter is one of the best out there on the market for the money. So at number 2 on the list is just 10 millimeter 1911s. You pick your flavor. All right, now we're to number 1 on the list, and at number 1 is a gun I never thought I would put on my lists of anything. It's a manufacturer that I didn't think I would ever put any of their guns on my top something list. But in this case, I think it deserves to be there. And it is the Rock Ultra FS HC 10 millimeter from Rock Island Arms. Now you might say to yourself, didn't you just say 1911s already? Isn't that a 1911? Well, this is actually a double stack 1911, and I think it needs to be pulled out on its own. Now, a lot of people say, well, isn't that a 2011? I don't think all double stack 1911s are 2011s, unless they actually alter more than just the size of the magazine and the width of the mag well. So I think this still classifies as a 1911, just like the old Warthogs did. They were double stack 1911 style guns. So I do believe this still counts as a 1911, but like I say, it's double stack, so let's give it its own category. And here's the great thing about this. 16 rounds of 10 millimeter. 16 rounds of 10 millimeter, simple platform, single action only hammer fired gun, manual safety, like I said, 1911 platform. It's a Series 70 style 1911, which a lot of people prefer. And I had never had a lot of experience with these guns, but I've recently had some experience with this one, and I was amazed at how good it actually is for the money. And that's another great thing. This gun's under $700. Sometimes you pick it up a little over $700, but often you can get it for under. I've seen them for $695, everything from that price on up. But they're not expensive. They're just in that $700 range. And it's one of the few double stack 1911s you can get that actually has a metal alloy frame. I'm not sure what the frame's made of, I'm forgetting right now, but still, it's not polymer. Let's just say that. And like I say, I've been surprised by the quality of these guns. I've always said it's pretty easy to make a good 1911 if you know what you're doing, and they apparently know what they're doing. And they're doing it at a price that's hard to beat. So that's why it's number 1 on my list. Double stack, 1911, decent quality, low price, just an awesome gun all the way around. It's hard to find any fault with it. Now, I will say right now, I've had some problems in the past with the Rock Island 1911s, not the guns themselves as a whole failing, but small parts failing, mainly the safety And the barrel bushing, I'm not even sure if this one, yeah, this one does have a barrel bushing, I do believe. But here's the thing, you can replace those easily. Sometimes they have bull barrels, sometimes some of the models don't. And I shot like 3 of their 1911s this week, so I'm forgetting which ones had bushings and didn't. But those are easily replaced. I have a drawer that has probably 5 or 6 of each of those things. And if you're someone like me that replaces things on guns, you probably have some laying around too. And even if you don't, they're not expensive. Get on eBay, order you a couple, order you one, or new replacement barrel bushing or replacement safety lever just in case they break. Or just replace them outright just to have a better one on there anyway. But like I said, awesome gun, awesome price, awesome capacity, awesome caliber. So that's why it's #1 on this list. All right, everybody, this next little segment of the show is not for you gun people. If you're only into guns, this might not be for you. Because this is for the car people. There's people out there I know that watch me every day that are big car people, just like I am, love my cars. Most of you out there that watch me know that I drive a little Mini Cooper. I had a Challenger was my car before, my last car, and the car before that was a Jeep Unlimited. So I like my cars. I trade them in quite a bit. Cars are one thing I spend money on. I don't spend money on clothes, obviously. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I did a video on how I afford my guns. I don't waste my money on anything but guns and cars. And I know that buying a new car every year is stupid because you throw away all that money that you paid on the car that you just bought, but I'm okay with that because I consider that my fee, my yearly fee, to have something that I really enjoy. And some people think, well, why are you driving the Mini Cooper? Because that's not a girl's car. Well, you know, I know a lot of people don't understand much about cars. The Mini Cooper is actually, it's an X Series BMW with a different body on it for one, but it's a rally car. It's a 300 plus horsepower car, all-wheel drive, adaptive suspension. I mean, it's a driver's car. If you know anything about cars, you know it's one of those that's on top of the list of cars for drivers. You know, and often cars that are made for people who love to drive aren't cars that a lot of people are into. And I can understand that because, you know, they're very specific. But I love my Mini Cooper. But most of you know, like I said, that I trade my car in every year. Well, I've only had this one 6 months now, so I've got like 2,200 miles on it. I don't drive much, but when I do drive, I want to have fun. And I'm going to be trading it in probably 6 more months, but I'm having trouble deciding on what to trade it in on. So I'd like some advice. What do you all think? There are some options I'm going to throw out to you. If I want to stay in an automatic car, because, you know, my knee's not the greatest these days, so working a clutch can be tiresome, but I don't drive much anymore. The reason I gave up stick shifts because I used to have to commute all the time and I was stuck in traffic a lot and it was really wearing on my knee. I'm still in need of knee surgery that I'm putting off. So it was getting tiresome. Now I don't ever get stuck in traffic. I never go anywhere. I go somewhere once a week, maybe twice, and I don't do it at times when there's going to be traffic. So I can go with a stick. But if I stay with automatic, you know, I'm looking at things like the Stinger, Kia Stinger, 365 horsepower. Because I want to have more horsepower than I have now. And I would love to stick with all-wheel drive. So here's my criteria. More than 300 horsepower. All-wheel drive. Preferably automatic. But I will consider a stick shift because I've been looking at the proposed 2022 Subaru WRX STI. First they said it was going to have like 400 horsepower. Now they've teamed it down to like, oh, it'll probably be a little over 350. So we'll see where it comes out. Like if it came out like 365, like the Stingers and the G70s from Genesis, which is another option, I might just go with the stick shift and get that WRX STI. I've always wanted one, especially with that big fin tail on it. I mean, I think they're awesome looking. And I think the new model looks pretty nice too. I've seen the spy photos and recreations of it. So what do you all think? What should be the next car I drive? You car guys out there that are still here, all you gun people I'm assuming left already. Well, except for the gun people that love cars. And I think those two things mesh pretty well. I think most guys who like guns also like cars. I think it's something about liking nice machinery or something like that. So let me know, what do you think I should get? But like I said, the criteria, once again, over 300 horsepower. I don't care if it's aspirated or turbocharged. Naturally aspirated or turbocharged, it's got to have over 300 horsepower. No trucks, nothing like that, because I keep a truck for when I need a truck. I want a car that's fun to drive. I live on windy river roads in the canyons. I want to be able to shoot those corners. So keep that in mind. So I want all-wheel drive. So I want, like I said, 300 plus horsepower, all-wheel drive, preferably a sedan or a coupe. Automatic if possible, but if not, I'll consider a stick as long as it is, like I said, all-wheel drive and all those other things, which eliminates some cars that I'm really curious about. Like I've always wanted a Camaro, the SS or something. I never owned one, but not all-wheel drive, and where I live, it's just not practical. I also am really interested in the new Z that's coming out, the 400Z. We're supposed to have a 400 horsepower, 6-cylinder engine in it. That looks really promising, but once again, no all-wheel drive. So all-wheel drive is kind of a must, and over 300 horsepower a must. Automatic is optional, but preferable. So what do you think? What should I be looking at? And don't give me this stuff from, like Germany and that I can't get here. Don't tell me like the blah, 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 RS that they only sell in Europe. I want it has to be something that I can actually buy here. So let me hear it, car people, gun people, car and gun people. Because I can't imagine there's any car people here that aren't gun people. And a lot of the gun people are still car people. So you know what I'm talking about. So let me know, what do you think should be the next car that I drive? All right, everybody, I've been blabbering a little bit too much today. Usually I do 3 segments. I'm going to stick to 2 today because I don't want to become the guy who speaks for 40 minutes and doesn't say anything. I'm already the guy that speaks for 20 and doesn't say anything. And it's hard enough to get people to listen to me for 5 or 10 minutes, much less a 20 or 30-minute video. So I'm going to go ahead and end it here today. I don't want to become one of those guys that just likes to hear themselves talk. Although, I kind of like to hear myself talk. Obviously, or I wouldn't be sitting here talking into a camera all the time. But I just want to sign off, as usual, by saying, as far as the state of the world today is concerned, it is what it is. It could be a lot worse. Trust me, it's not as bad as everybody thinks it is, or likes to make you think it is. But it could still be better. And if we start ignoring the profiteers, the fearmongers, the propagandists, the people that want to manipulate you to serve their own best financial interests while pretending to be serving the Second Amendment community, if we start ignoring those people, understanding where they're coming from, what things will be in the very near future for the gun community and people who just love freedom in general is better.